Alright, so this one is making a table given an equation by Professor G. It turns out that making a table given an equation is very important. If you don't know what the shape of the graph looks like, it gives you an idea. It gives you a starting place for plotting some points and stuff like that. So we're going to do this two ways. The first way we're going to do it is I'm going to actually give you some values, given some values. And then the second way that we're going to do it is choose some values all on your own so that you can, see what maybe the graph looks like. Alright, so the first one that we're going to do is example number 1, and it's going to be 4x minus 3y equals 12. And this is a linear equation like you would see in class. Alright, and so basically what happens is a table is made up of the x values and the y values. And as soon as you choose one of the values, the other one is forced because it's got to be on the line. Okay? So typically what they'll do is they'll give you a couple of x values, say x is equal to -3, maybe x is equal to 0, maybe x is equal to +3, and then +6, and then +9. Okay? So the idea here is substitution. You want to start by substituting into the equation. Alright, it's good stuff. And basically you're just going to do this one at a time. You're going to take the -3 and you're going to put them in right here. Okay? And so this ends up giving you 4 times -3 minus 3y equals 12. Okay? And so now what do we need? Well, simplify. Do your orders of operation, right? You're getting ready to solve. That's the end in mind for the y. And so now we need to simplify this. Well, 4 times -3 is a -12 minus 3y equals 12. There may be something else that you need to do depending upon your equation or what have you, but now simply solve. Okay, so obviously we're going to undo our subtraction with addition because that's what we've been doing. And so you get -3y is equal to 24. And then we're going to undo our multiplication with division. So I'm going to divide by -3, divide by -3. And I'm going to get y is equal to -8. And that makes us happy. Okay? So that's the first value, is -8. Alright? So, well, now what? So now it's kind of like shampoo. You gotta lather, rinse, repeat as needed. So now we're gonna substitute, simplify, solve as needed. So we have 4 more guys, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys right here that we need to do the same thing with. Alright? So now we're just gonna take the 0 and put it in. So you have 4 times 0 minus 3y equals 12. Alright? And so you get 4 times 0 is 0. So you don't actually need that there. So you can divide by -3. And so y is equal to -4. So we got -4, so that makes us happy. And now if x is 0 and y is equal to a -4, anytime x is equal to 0, that gives you the y-intercept. Alright, so that's the y-intercept right there. So now we're going to do it with the 3. So you have 4 times 3 minus 3y equals 12. And now 4 times 3 is 12. And everything else comes down. And then subtract 12 from both sides, because that's what we got to do here. And now you get -3y is equal to 0. Well, that's kind of strange. What do you multiply by -3 to get 0? Well, multiply by 0. So here y is going to be equal to 0. So that makes us happy. Now, of course, you could divide, right? We could have gone off to the side here and said divide by -3, divide by -3, and hopefully you wouldn't say that that's an undefined situation. Hopefully you'd realize that 0 divided by -3 is 0. So that gives us the same answer over here. And so now when x has a value and y is 0, that's going to be your x-intercept. So I chose those kind of nicely. They do that in the book too. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, do I have to keep doing this? And so the idea here, there's a big idea. So I'm just going to make a box right here. And there's a big idea. We only deal with linear equations in beginning algebra, right? So what we're going to do is every line follows a pattern. And so as soon as we see the pattern, you can just fill in the blanks in your table. Alright? So what does that look like? Well, this one's going by threes, right? Plus 3 gives you 0. Plus 3 gives you 3, plus 3 gives you 6, plus 3 gives you 9. So that's the pattern over here, so that's pretty consistent. What's this one? This one's plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. So if I add plus 4 here, that means there should be a 4 that goes right here. And if I add plus 4 right here, there's an 8 that should go right there. So the pattern on this side was the plus 3, the pattern on this side was the plus 4, and that fills in the table for us. And that makes us happy. So we're actually going to use this big idea to help us when we have to choose. Alright? Alright, so this is example number 2. And let's say now we're just going to put it in slope-intercept form. So you've got y equals 1/3 x minus 5, right? And you're supposed to graph this or something, but you don't know what to do, and so you can make a table. You can obviously make a table. Maybe the directions are to make a table, right? That's what we're doing. So the idea is now you need to choose all of your values, because they're not giving you anything. And so how do you do that? How do I choose any value? Well, basically the answer to that is make your life easy. Especially when you've got fractions here, right? So for this particular example, because you got a 3 in the denominator, you want to make sure everything you choose is divisible by 3. Alright, and then basically you want to pick a couple of negative numbers, 0, and a couple of positive numbers. This usually gives you a pretty good sense. Now, remember the big idea from the other page? Follow a pattern. The other thing that you want to do when you choose is follow a pattern, right? If we've got 3's right here, then count by 3's, you know? So that you can just kind of start filling in the table. So what's that going to look like? Well, let's start with -6, because that's divisible by 3, and it's negative. And then if I count by 3's, then the next one would be -3, and then the next one would be 0, and then you'd have 3, 6, and 9. Alright, and so you're like, oh, well, this is good, because all of these guys right here are counting by 3's. I'm adding 3 each time. So as soon as I discover the pattern over here, then I can just start filling in the table. I don't have to do any more algebra, right? So let's go ahead and start with the -6. And we'll plug that in over here, right? And so you're going to have y equals 1/3 times -6. And I'm just going to put it over the 1 because we know we're going to have to do that. And then, of course, a -6 divided by 3 is a -2. And so y is going to be equal to -7. Alright, so there it is. Y is equal to -7. What about when y is equal to -3? Well, we have to do the same thing, right? Because I don't know what the pattern is yet. I want to try and find the pattern, but I need at least one more number. So I'm going to go ahead and throw, there's my 1/3, there's my -3. This is going to give us a -1. And that's -6. Oh, wow. All I did was add 1. Well, maybe I made a mistake. Let's throw the 0 in. Let's just check with the 0. So there's 1/3 times 0 minus 5. And of course, 0 times anything is 0. And so you're just left with -5. And so sure enough, every single one of these is, if you're counting by +3 over here, then you're going up by 1 over here. And so this is going to be -4, -3, -2, and so on and so forth. Okay? Remember this right here, this is your y-intercept. In case somebody asks you, whenever the x is 0 and the y has a value, then that's your y-intercept. And so by following the pattern, you know, and choosing wisely to make your life easy, filling in the tables are not so bad. Thank you very much for looking at this tutorial. I'm Professor G, and have a great semester.